One of the absolute most popular pieces of content that I've ever created for YouTube and other channels has been around the question of, should I accept credit cards in my business? I would make the argument that the conversation has now moved past the question of accepting credit cards to, how do I get more of my clients or all of my clients to pay with credit cards? The reason I would say this is the question of today is because the game has changed significantly from 5 or 7 years ago. Do you have a rewards card in your pocket, in your wallet, in your purse? Do you have one or more rewards cards? Are you getting 3 or 5% back at Amazon? Do you get 1 or 2% cash back on your credit card? Do you earn points for traveling, so points towards airline miles? I'm going to guess you do. And I'm going to guess when you make purchases, you want to use your rewards cards. That's what everyone is doing across the board. You're doing it, I'm doing it, and all of your clients are doing it. Now, a huge percentage of all transactions are happening on Amazon and online platforms, meaning your clients, just like you and I, are buying online. That means they are already trained and conditioned to use a credit card. When you go to a fast food restaurant, do you still write a check? No, nobody does. But that was something that happened 8, 10 years ago, and now all fast food restaurants accept checks. If you go somewhere and you pull out your credit card and they say, oh, we don't accept credit cards, how would you react to that? It's weird. It's strange to not accept credit cards. When a plumber or an HVAC company or electrician comes to your home, they expect payment in the moment. Why is it different for other industries? Many of the industries that we serve. It's fading. It's not going to be different for that much longer. And that's my argument. The reason it's not going to be different is your client wants to pay via credit card. All the data says that if your clients are able to pay via credit card, they will also spend more money with you. So you want to pay with reward cards, and they do too. And that's why I say the conversation has shifted. This is no longer a question of, does the client want to pay with credit card? The question now is, how do I get all of my clients to pay with credit cards? Because the reward of getting paid by credit card is massive. Imagine tomorrow you woke up and you have an extra $2,000, $10,000, $20,000, $40,000. For some companies, $200,000 in their bank account because they get paid by credit card every week, every day, every month. When the cash flow level goes up, what does that do? It gives you confidence to reinvest in marketing, to upgrade your equipment, to hire that next individual that would be a game changer inside the organization. That's what's on the line. And that's why the conversation of should I accept credit cards is no longer the conversation. Now the conversation is how do I get paid by all of my clients with credit card? So I'd like to offer up, after 10 years of Service Autopilot, some best practices that we see many of our very top, very best, biggest members implementing when it comes to credit card processing. So one is, it's all around awareness. While you accept credit cards, do your clients actually know that you accept credit cards? Have they been told? Are you constantly reminding them? And are you using language that will trigger in them the desire to use the credit card? So you could simply say, we take American Express, Visa, and MasterCard. And that message is somewhat telling, but it doesn't really tell them what they need to hear at a subconscious level to trigger action. For example, if you said you could be earning 2% back on every purchase at XYZ company, your company, now that's a different message. They're like, oh, that's right. I want to be using my rewards card for this. So think in terms of messaging that triggers something in their mind that gives them a benefit for taking the action. But remember, every time you ask your client to do something, you're essentially inflicting pain upon them. They have to do something. You've added something to the to-do list. So you've got to match that ask with a benefit. And that benefit has to, in their mind, outweigh the ask. I would offer up that many are trying to maximize their reward points on their credit cards. So that's a simple example of one way in which a client could get a trigger to say, yes, why am I wasting money paying with a check? I could be earning points on this expense, right? So it's not just about saying we do something. It's about then making a compelling argument for why they want to do it and constantly showing up. If you think about marketing, common knowledge is you want to be in front of your prospect about 7 times before they recognize your name. It's about repetition. Same thing here. If one day you show up and say, hey, we accept Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, and then you go quiet? That doesn't work like saying it every time they get an invoice, saying it 10, 12, 20 times a year. That's how you get adoption. Another best practice that we see across our base of clients is they move away from the approach of saying, we'd like you to pay with credit card, or would you be willing to pay with credit card, to saying, using simple language such as, to start service, all I need is the credit card you'd like to pay with. When you're training your team to take an action inside your organization, it's natural that they will take the path of least resistance. And so what I mean by this is, if you tell the team, hey, try to get a credit card, because that's advantageous for the company. If they sense any pushback or any discomfort, they're not going to ask, or they're not going to push. And that's why at times having a policy of we only accept credit cards solves for that problem, because the team does not have an out. Their only option to sign up the client, to sell the business, is to get the credit card. But when you give them an either or choice, what you're going to find is they don't ask, they don't push, they don't tell the client why they need to pay with credit card. And as a result, you get a low number of credit cards. So a best practice that we commonly see companies take a stance of, we work with clients that pay by credit card. We do not accept checks, and they don't make exceptions. Well, part of it is it goes back to trust. And trust is earned through consistency and reliability. So the best companies are also charging their clients credit cards on a standard. So the best companies are charging their clients credit cards on the same day of the week, same day of the month. So if you charge monthly, maybe it's the first of every month or the last day of the month. Maybe you charge your clients credit cards every day, the day after service, or every week, meaning the week after service. Consistency matters. It also matters that the invoicing, as you know, is accurate, because it's an area of extreme trust. If they feel that you are sending out an invoice that is inaccurate and you're not reviewing your invoices, or your internal operations are not in line to make sure that the invoices are accurate, and then you auto-charge your credit card, there will be a breakdown in trust. And so the very best companies have established a system such as reviewing their dispatch board every day to make sure everything is accurate, and then closing out the invoices on a regular basis, or better said, closing out the job so that they get invoiced, and then sending out those invoices on a very consistent day. Something that we think is a very best practice is, if you bill your clients, for example, weekly, what if you send the invoice on a Monday and then you auto-charge the credit cards on a Wednesday? That gives your client 2 days to review the invoice, 2 days to raise their hand, call in and say, hey, I've got a concern, so that you can make it right before their credit card is charged. Another best practice, many companies make this being getting their client base to pay via credit card a high priority project inside their organization. The reason they make it a high priority project, and by project I mean messaging the clients, training the team, giving the team talking points, maybe going back to the existing base of clients and getting the credit card. The reason they make that a high priority project is they know that one of the single most important things in the organization is cash flow. Their responsibility as the leaders of the company is to make sure the company has plenty of funds, plenty of cash. And as a result, this is a lever in the organization. When you have enough cash, it makes everything else possible. So they make this one of the absolute highest priority projects in the company. Conversely, many companies ignore this. They kick it down the road, they delay, year after year they don't implement, and year after year they don't have the funds to be any different or better than all of the other companies they compete with in their marketplace. My personal belief is that credit card processing really costs about 1% of the transaction. And the reason for that is, when you're not charging the credit card, you've got higher collections, higher bad debt, you've got phone calls and to-dos and emails, you've got labor chasing the money, and a whole variety of other expenses inside the business. And so when you take that cost out of the equation, it offsets some of the credit card processing fees. And my personal theory, and I'm not backing it up with data, is the real cost is around 1%. If you're running your business on a line of credit, and so you've got a cost of money expense, whether you're using credit cards or line of credit, then I believe that using credit cards becomes free, because the money you're bringing in faster allows you to not use those credit cards, not use that line of credit, or at least use less debt. And so it offsets the interest expense. So to me, credit card processing is one of the most compelling things you can implement inside your business. And it goes back to this concept of the top companies are making this a high priority project inside their organizations. If you'd like more ideas, please feel free to ask our team. We'd love to help you. I can tell you from personal experience, it's been a difference maker. Obviously, this is how Service Autopilot was built. You give us a credit card, we charge your credit card. We get paid by our members every single day of the month. It's life-changing. It allowed us to build this business without using any debt. I did the same thing in my service company. I just can't speak highly enough of how important this is. So if you find this to be highly risky or you're worried about it, I'd suggest you simply implement, run a little test, implement with your new clients first. So every new client that comes in, get a credit card, auto charge their credit card on whatever frequency you've designed into your organization. And once you see firsthand that it's easy, that it works, that it's effortless, that your clients like it, then you go back and get your credit cards from all of your clients. But if I could make one personal recommendation, I would say the very best way to run the organization, in my opinion, is to have a policy of 100% of our clients pay us with credit card. And when you get to that place, you'll find it's a cakewalk. If you have questions, please ask us. We'd love to help you. Thanks a lot.